I don't have an auto darken mask, so I couldn't see anything when I wasn't welding. Stopped welding, and then when I flipped my mask up, there was smoke everywhere, and I ran out. I'm like, oh crap, is there a fire? So the entire thing is seized shut, like it doesn't have any free moving parts on the inside. This is usually fairly frightening. I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. This is the cable I used last year and the year before, so I'm assuming that the new one will perform much better. And it was literally a brake line with a wire through it, and I would tie a knot around a part on the throttle body, and that's what my throttle cable was. And I did that for 2 freaking years. You would definitely have to put your foot on the gas to get it to go, but like you had throttle. And that was good enough for me at that point. So I put in a cable from a trunk, and that's what I got off the green MX3. And this is the end on it, and I believe it will fit onto my actual throttle body right away. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to probably do some mods here and there to make it work. I've already got it ran up to the throttle pedal. I'm gonna have to make something to attach it to that, because I have 2 throttle cables, one for the front, one for the back, so I'm gonna have to make something, obviously. But I've made one before and it worked, and it was like honestly a piece of crap. I'm sure I can make a good one. This is very smooth, and in comparison to the actual brake line one, this is no comparison. This is so much smoother. So I am definitely pumped for that. It's gonna have nice throttle feel, which will be a different experience, and it'll be a lot easier to tune. The actual throttles in sync. I got a new plan. So here's my cable, and it's just sitting in there. It's not actually attached. I need to figure out a way to attach it. And I'm going to put this end on. This is an end that fits into my throttle body. So what I'm gonna do is overlap it and then tack each end, and then figure out if I can weld all the way across or what. Because honestly, it didn't really like being welded. It was kind of splattering and everything. So I'm gonna just see what happens with welding, and if it doesn't work like that, I might have to get some sort of glue or something in there. I'll see what I can do. All right, so what I did here is I took off a piece from a original throttle cable for an MX3, and I cut it off. I'm gonna clean it up a bit, but yeah, this is gonna work mint. So I'm gonna throw this on before I weld it, and then I'm going to weld this piece on. And then once I have everything figured out, since this goes right on to the actual throttle body, it'll just go right on. I have full adjustability in and out on whatever I need. If it needs to be tightened or loosened, it's all gonna be adjustable. Now I just need to get it welded up. This will be fun. Before I start with everything, I'm going to make this piece of rubber in the middle. So I have adjustability probably 3/4 inch each way, rather than only having adjustability one way. So I'm just gonna spin it down. Oh my god. So I have a new plan. Welding's obviously not working. I thought it would, but it's kind of making me mad, so I'm just gonna move to something else. It's literally like a thread. Like, it's so hard to weld. Anyways, I don't even know what material it is. I'm gonna drill a hole in the center and then feed it over top of this stupid freaking throttle cable, get it over top of this, and then I'm going to either glue or, no, I'm not gonna weld it. I'm gonna glue it or tie a knot on the other end. So when it's pulling on the knot, and that's exactly how I'm gonna do it, and it will work. I just really wanted to weld it, whatever. I'm just gonna sand that stupid cable off, so then I'm gonna be able to drill a hole in that after. I really don't want to lose this thing. If I do, I'm gonna be upset. I'm just trying to grind it off with the paper. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted to do. I'm just gonna sand the end, make it smooth. The hole I'm drilling has to be bigger than the actual cable here, so I've got to figure that out. But after I do that, it'll slide over, then I can glue it or tie a knot on the other end, and it'll be easy. All right, new theory. I just got some more line in there. And I'm going to put this spring over the cable where I want it. And it actually holds it very tightly. This is a heavy duty spring and it's just enough to fit tightly. And I'm also gonna put a bunch of PL inside of it. So the PL is gonna be mated to the cable, and then the PL is gonna be mated to the actual spring as well. So then I can design how wide it is and everything else, because I can also bend the actual spring. This is my best bet from not just like from keeping the line straight and everything. I want it to be smooth. Like this is literally like butter, and I would love that. So I'm gonna try this. This is really jimmy rigged, but I'm thinking it's gonna work. All right, I've got my spring on and it's already tight. Like that would probably be enough to open and close the throttle body. So the spring is a little bit more diameter than the actual piece I was trying to drill out earlier. So I have to make this larger to get it in. And once I do that, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to glue it and then just leave it overnight with the PL and it'll be mint. Hey, check this out. So the spring is in there and I haven't glued it, obviously. I haven't also done anything on the pedal yet, so I'm just gonna demonstrate how it works. Look at that. It holds already and I haven't put glue in it yet. So I'm gonna glue it, leave it overnight, actually take it apart first. And then it should be good. So basically what I'm gonna do is just put some glue in here, center everything, and then I can cut and do all that stuff later, but that is going to work and it's gonna be a smooth engagement, which is sick. Look at that thing. It's gorgeous. Best thing I've ever manufactured in my life. So once that thing dries, she is gonna be mint. Honestly, it worked good without the PL. So I am guaranteeing that it will work mint with the PL. The PL is just gonna add a little bit of strength, which is exactly what I need. I don't wanna be pulling the cable right through at the track and then being like, oh damn, like what am I gonna do now? Now I'm just gonna do a little bit of sanding on the actual spring and then get it fitting well and see how it works. Well, that didn't work. This idea, just feeding it through with the tack end, did not work. Pretty upset about it. So I'm gonna redo that thought with a new spring, but I'm gonna feed it through and then tie it in a knot somehow. As the day goes on, it just keeps getting worse. So basically what I'm gonna do is just sand the tips until they aren't gonna like pop out of the actual spring, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the glue and it'll be all good. Like right now I cannot pull it off for my life. I would not be able to pull it off. There's like 17 knots in there. And yeah, it fits. I already tested it in there. It fits and works. It has no problem. I'm just gonna put this into the actual throttle body, and then I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna attach it to my pedal. All right, I got this ball into an end that was for the trunk mechanism. So it's right at home where it was originally put in an MX3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off down here, and then I'm gonna weld this to my throttle pedal. This is an entire system out of a trunk cable system. As you can see right there, the trunk guy right there. So when people tell me to rev my engine up, I'm gonna be like, what do you mean? Just tell me to open the trunk and I'll rev her up for you. The main goal here is to get them to act the same. So when I'm at zero throttle on both engine, 50% throttle, 50% on both, and 100 on both. I've never had that yet, so that'll be kind of cool to be close as I possibly can now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten up the front one, get the front one dialed in, so when the pedal's all the way up, it's at 0. Then I'm gonna start fabricating in my rear one, and I have to make sure that they're both going to be getting pulled at the same distance from the pendulum, because what I'm doing is one is pulling back. There's 2 bars for the throttle, and one is for the throttle for the front engine, and the other one is based off cruise control. So when a stock car has cruise control like this one, it's based off vacuum, and it pulls it when it needs it, and it'll actually pull on the throttle right down by your feet. So they're both going different ways. When you're pushing on the throttle, you're actually pulling away from the firewall, so this way, and then with the cruise control, it's going the opposite way. So one's pulling and one's pushing. So I'm gonna be using the pushing one for the back, because it's gonna be going like this, pulling towards the firewall, and then this one is going to be pulling away from the firewall. So I need to make sure that they have the same length in throw, so they have the exact same 0 to 100 ratio when I'm using the throttle. So with this cage in here, this makes this thing a nightmare to work on underneath here. So I'm gonna have to get real comfy under there and show you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna grab a flashlight and then show you what. So as you can see, as I'm pushing on the pedal, it's pulling that little or yellow guy from the wall, which is pulling the actual front engine one, the front engine throttle cable. And then you see this other bar going the opposite way. So that is what would have been used for a cruise control. So that's what I'm gonna be using, because I'm gonna have my throttle cable up in here, and it's going to be pulling it in the correct way, which is the opposite way of the front one. So I need to make sure I've got the same throw on each throttle cable, and I can put it at whatever desired height I want it at, because I have that luxury of welding in whatever I want. So the closer I go to the pendulum, the less throw it'll have, and the closer I go to the end of the shaft, the more throw it'll have. So I'm gonna have to get my tape measure out and make sure everything's gonna be close. And if I get it close, this thing's gonna drive amazing. Where I know it's gonna be the same, and it's almost right at the top. It's just in the center of that hole. I just wanted to make sure it was the same. So I'm gonna just weld that guy on there, and then I'll be able to attach that. Then I need to rigid my throttle so it doesn't actually just move the throttle cable all the way around, and then I'm good to go, and I'll try it. Okay, I've got it tacked in, which is awesome. So now I'm going to actually put the throttle cable into it, rigid mount it, and try it, and see if they are close, 0 to 100% compared to each other. So I just got everything hooked up, tested the front, tested the back, tested them at the same time, and it's looking good. But I am 100% that the front is going to 100% and the back isn't. I'm thinking the back's getting like 87%. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to right now put a piece of wood to put the pedal to the floor and then measure each. All right, I got a piece of wood jammed in there, and now I'm going to check without cutting the actual clip. Yeah, as you can see, there is still a bit left, but that's nothing major at all. That can be adjusted out. Now I'm going to go to the back one and check it. I'm assuming it is at 100%. Let me check. Yeah, it is at absolute 100%. I cannot move the actual throttle body whatsoever. So in theory, the back needs to get more. I'm definitely gonna have to adjust it out. My adjusters that I made for here are gonna work with no issues. I just gotta dial it in a bit. I'm gonna take some time. I'm just gonna loosen these nuts off and then pull this guy back a bit, and then tighten it back down. And I'm going to see how close I can get this thing. I adjusted it until it's actually 100% at full throttle. Both are at 100% now, guaranteed. Because before we checked and the front one was at 100, so that's good. Now I need to remove the piece of wood and make sure they both are at 0. I have a funny feeling that the back one won't. I think that's gonna take a little bit more figuring out. I'm just gonna remove this piece of wood. So the piece of wood is out. Now I'm going back. And are we at 0? Yes, we are. Oh my gosh, this might actually work. So the throttle body in the back is going to 0, which I didn't think was going to happen. All right, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna just push on the pedal. It's actually not going quite back all the way. I might have to back it off a touch, but we're getting there. Okay, I've got it at 100% again, and I'm gonna see if it's gonna be at the max. That's very close. Honestly, just a little bit of more adjusting and I'm there. Like, I'm looking pretty good. All right, so what I just did is I actually bent this plate a bit. It was on an angle. I think it was already bent by accident, so I just bent it straight, and now I'm back to normal. I've got full 0, full 100%. They're doing it at the exact same time, and I am so happy with this setup. All I've got to do now is put some glue into that spring that I've got jimmy rigged in there. And then I have to finish the welding on the actual pedal for the rear throttle cable. So that's it. I'm really excited for this. It's actually gonna rev up the same. It's gonna have the same throttle percentage. It's gonna be a whole different animal. So that'll be so sick. All right, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Holy crap. I was welding my throttle cable in, and I had it grounded to the pedal, and it literally went grounded through this cable somehow and fried, absolutely fried this cable. Look how melted it got. I don't understand. Like, I was welding close to this. Yeah, I do understand that, and I wasn't thinking, but it melted the entire way. Right down, like, this is like a 30-foot cable. So I don't know what the heck happened, but anyways, I need a new one. As you saw, I can't even go in there right now, it stinks so bad. Anyways, as you saw, the throttle was working good. All I had to do was finish welding on the throttle pedal. I was doing that, I'm underneath there, and I had the ground as close to the welder as I could. It was just on the throttle pedal. And I was welding away, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's that smell? And like, I don't have an auto darken mask, so I couldn't see anything when I wasn't welding. Stopped welding, and then when I flipped my mask up, there was smoke everywhere, and I ran out. I'm like, oh crap, is there a fire? And then I was underneath the dash taking a look, and what happened was, for some reason, the ground went through the cable that I just made right to the back of the car where the engine is, and absolutely melted the throttle cable. So the entire thing is seized shut. Like, it doesn't have any free moving parts on the inside. So like, that cable's done. That entire thing I did today was for nothing because I have to redo the whole thing other than what I welded onto the pedal. But I need to remake everything. I'm pretty cheesed, to be completely honest. Not many things bad happen here because I'm careful, but look at that. Like, she is just toasted the whole way. It's just like bubbly and all that. Look at the bubble in there. The whole way. I'm not even kidding you. I had the ground like right underneath where I was welding. I have no idea how that happened. I'm actually gonna check the front one because if the front one's done too, I'm not gonna be happy. But it looks like it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. But I don't know why that happened. If you do know, let me know in the comments. But that was weird. So now I have to find an MX3 trunk lid cable. Like, this sucks. I have no idea where I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna look online. There's probably gonna be something on eBay that's gonna take a month and a half to get here. I'm not impressed. That sucks. So, moving on, I'm just going to find one as soon as I can, like right now, and order one up. I got my buddies looking for me. So, hopefully I can get one soon, and then I have to remake it and all that. So, alright. Well, that's it for this episode. I'm just going to throw it in when I get it, but yeah. Alright, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. This is usually fairly frightening. I'm gonna make something great. That's my